Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, g'day. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Economics Mate, and yes, this is indeed Water Tanks Blitz, and this is the second round of auction tanks. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, every single day there's going to be a new batch of 4 tanks that are going to be for sale. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Here we go. The first of the tanks is the M60. Now, before I begin, I just want to make it absolutely clear. I said that tanks on APAC, there is 150 available per tank. I was wrong, it's actually 125. So Wargaming, if you are watching this video, please, for the love of God, give us more tanks for Asia. It's not fair that EU has 1,000 tanks. I'm not sure what NA has. I think it's way more than what we got. I understand we're the smallest server, but 125 tanks per vehicle available for sale, that's a very low margin. I mean, need I remind you of the BZ70, BZ50, the BZ58 and 2, which was sold for 20,000 gold on the APAC server, and 3,000 of those tanks were sold out in 30 minutes. So there are people who want to pay top dollar for these tanks, and there are people who have the gold and want to purchase this thing. So please, Wargaming, give us more tanks. This is not enough. 125 tanks per tank, like available to purchase per tank, is not a lot at all when EU has like 1,000. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's just a bit of banter. Okay, Wargaming, please fix that. The M60, 15,000 gold for the M60. Not a bad price. I'll be honest with you, not a bad price. But considering there's such a little amount available on APAC, it's kind of difficult to justify that price. I would say probably wait until it's sort of lower in price. Now, obviously on EU, there is a lot more players and therefore a lot more tanks to sell. So I would say, you know, if you can wait for this thing to decrease in price, then go ahead. What I forgot to mention actually was the prices decreased by more than, almost more than 2,000 gold, which was insane. It was quite a big price jump. So yeah, interesting. So the M60, is this worth it for 15,000 gold? To some extent, it is. It's a T10 collector tank, and that's usually what they go for, 15,000 gold. I would say just wait until it's decreased in price after 7 hours, and then just purchase it at that price. That's what I would say. It's a good tank. Very, very nice tank. The M48 pattern is technically a better tank than the M60, but nonetheless, the M60 is a fantastic tank. It's actually the first premium tank at T10. I made a whole video on it and the controversy it had surrounding that tank when it was first released. But yeah, it's a nice tank. It's got a great gun. It's got very nice turret armor. It's got great hull armor. It's very good going hull down. As I said, it's a premium version of the M48 pattern. The only difference is that the 48 pattern is better, basically. It's a better tank. But still, this is a cool thing to have the M60, a historic tank indeed, especially considering it was present in the Vietnam War. So, yeah, very, very nice tank. 15,000 gold, yeah, not bad. But I would say wait until it's a price drop. You probably won't be able to wait on APAC because, I mean, 125 tanks available. That's very low. The FV1066 Senlac. Now, this is a Tier 8 British light tank. Obviously, it hasn't been sold that much. I think it was sold recently in like a bundle and on its own, and then it was sold in the, I believe in the Black Friday event and a couple other times. But here it is, 9,000 gold. Is it worth 9,000 gold? Probably not. I don't think it's worth 9,000 gold. I would say this is one of the ones where wait until it's as cheap as it can possibly get and then purchase it. That would be my advice. It's not an amazing tank by any stretch of the imagination. It's good. It's not bad. It's a British light tank. You know, the gun is all right. The mobility is pretty nice. The armor obviously is non-existent. Again, it's not bad. It's not a bad tank. You just don't see it being played as often. As I said, for 9,000 gold, it's not worth it at all. Just wait until it's decreased in price. I reckon it's going to go down to 6,000 6,500 or something, 6,750 gold. At that price, it's not bad for a tier 8. If you can manage to snag this at even less than that, at like, 4,000, mate, go for gold. Be worth it. The Caliban. This is... this tank, honestly, look, when you look at the stats, it is in no way, shape or form a great heavy tank. It isn't. You look at the statistics on this thing and you say to yourself, nah, there's no way this tank is good. There's no way this tank is good, right? You look at this thing and you're thinking, no, there's no way this tank is good as a heavy tank. And you're right, it isn't. The turret is abysmal. The whole armor is abysmal. It's basically non-existent. But it's a British heavy tank that features a gun that can deal 860 damage on your Hesh rounds. Let me reiterate that. You can deal 860 damage with your Hesh rounds. With your Hesh round. This is basically a tier 8 Conway. Actually, no. Scratch that. This is not a Conway. This has got a better gun than the Conway. It's ridiculous. Like, I've seen shots that can deal 900 plus if you're lucky enough. Like, it's honestly, the gun on this thing is so troll. You have a 21-second reload. Okay, a 21-second reload. But you have a huge amount of alpha. And if you're firing those Hesh shells and you're running calibrated shells, let me tell you, it is absolutely... It's such a meme tank. This is such a meme tank. Everything else about it is rubbish. Or not rubbish, but it's average. The armor is terrible. This is not a heavy tank. You don't play this as a heavy tank. You play it as a tank destroyer. That's what you should be playing this tank as. A tank destroyer. Still though, I would say for 9,000 gold, it is 100% not worth it. Do not spend 9,000 gold on this thing. Just wait for it to become cheaper. Watch this become like 6,750 gold as well, and then it'll be worth it. This is such a meme tank. It's honestly hilarious. This is, out of all of these, this is probably going to be my pick, the Caliban. I would pick the Caliban over the M60 any day of the week. It's just such a fun tank to play. I've played it on my press account. It's so much fun. The memes! Dude, the memes! It is just so much fun to play. So, the Caliban would be my pick out of these four. I do have like a compilation of Caliban just meme shots. I probably will make a video on it and release it. But for the time being, there it is, the Caliban. Just wait for these prices to go down. Just monitor how many there are left. Right? You don't have to go to an external site. It's in the garage. Which, by the way, I like the idea of. I think Wargaming should implement this. Wargaming, please, if you're listening, I like this idea. Having it in the garage instead of having it in an external site. There you go. The GSOR is the next one. Now, the GSOR is actually not a bad tank. Sorry, let me go back to the M60 for a bit. I know you guys were wondering. I mean, you can check yourselves, but, like, can I just say, the M60, chef's kiss. This is such a sexy tank. Don't get me wrong, the M48 Patton is a sexy tank too, with the legendary camouflages. But this thing, oh man, this thing is so nice. This is such a nice tank. This is such a good looking tank. Honestly, it is just beautiful. And it has great armor, as I said. Turret armor is great. The whole armor is not bad, especially considering the fact that it's very, very angled. For a medium tank, it's fantastic. So, yeah, it is, as I said, very, very sexy tank. And then, of course, this thing, I forgot to showcase it. There you go. The FE1066 Senlac. As you can see, basically no armor whatsoever. It's got no armor whatsoever. It's got a 5-second reload. Pen is actually really nice for a light tank. I wasn't expecting that. And it's got just regular rounds. So you're doing 200 alpha. So not the best, but you do have 10 degrees of gun compression. So yeah, there you go. I probably would sort of skip over this tank unless you really want it in your collection. Just wait for it to get really cheap and then you buy it. The GSOR. The GSOR is an interesting one. Obviously, as you guys know, the GSOR Fearless is, a reward tank that you get for basically smashing it out in ratings. It is a tank destroyer that it doesn't really play as a tank destroyer. You got to play it like a medium tank almost, without the spotting, right? Because you got no armor. That's number one. Your armor is basically non-existent. I mean, you can be HE'd with this thing, okay? Your firepower, you have 2 shells in your clip. It's a 2-shell autoloader, right? It does 350 alpha with your AP. It has HESH. It has standard HE, or rather cheap HESH, and it's got premium HESH. Now, on your premium HESH, you got 184 mils of pen. But if you're running this with calibrated shells, you can probably bump that up to well over 200. You can probably, actually, I think it will get just over 200 mils of pen, which is very, very nice indeed. And you'll be doing 440 alpha. So the important thing here to note is, using your premium HESH does not decrease the amount of, the amount of damage that you do. In fact, you're doing the same amount on your premium than you are on your standard HE, 440 alpha. And a lot of the times you will get those 500 alpha shots. So if you're doing 440 alpha twice, you do the math, that's 880 hit points of damage, almost 900 damage out of 2 shells. So it's pretty impressive, if you ask me. Pretty impressive. Within 2.5 seconds, you're dishing out almost 900 damage if you're penning with those HESH rounds. So it's quite nice. It is quite nice. And you do get 8 degrees of gun depression, which, fair enough. Is it worth it at 7,500 gold? I mean, it's a tier 8 tank destroyer. I mean, as it is, 7,500 gold is pretty good. It's a pretty good price. So, yeah. It is worth it at this price. Someone keeps spamming my freaking WhatsApp. It's really annoying the crap out of me. The GSOR is really nice. It's a nice tank. But you can't go wrong with the Caliban. The Caliban, by all stretch of the imagination, is such a terrible tank in terms of as a heavy tank. Like, it is a terrible heavy tank, but so much fun as a tank destroyer. It's not a heavy tank, it's a tank destroyer. It just, for some reason, identifies as a heavy tank, but it's not. It's a tank destroyer. So please play it like a tank destroyer. GSOR, great tank. Great tank. Even at 7,500 gold, it's a very good price for a tier 8 tank destroyer. Very good tier 8 tank destroyer. But I would say wait for it to get even cheaper. I reckon it's going to hit 5,000 gold or just below 5,000 gold. Snag it up as cheap as you can, especially if you're on EU. You guys on EU have more of a chance, and on NA, you have more of a chance of snagging these at a lot cheaper prices than we do here on APAC. For the love of God, stop spamming me. So yeah, that would be my pick. The Caliban would probably be my pick, followed by the GSOR, then the M60, and then the Senlac. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is this second video talking about the tanks that have just been released for the second round of the auction. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to let me know in the comments down below which of these you're going to pick and how much you'll be willing to spend to get these tanks. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves, look after your friends and family, peace in the Middle East, and stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.